Welcome everybody and good morning. Welcome to the CSW 1767 side event. For 6 second chances, including learning for the women who need it the most. And it's been done in collaboration with friends and partners. So you have women in collaboration with UNICEF, UNITAR, and PHP Foundation, Government of Mexico, the Ministry of Women and IAEP. So welcome everybody. We know that some of you might need to go back to the secretariat, so we'll have a bit of a agenda. We want to really leave space for the discussion. But I'm really glad that we have a colleague and a friend from UNESCO for the opening. She might leave a bit early, but she's here now, so let's use this time. So it's Begona Lasagabaster. She's the UNESCO Director for Gender Equality. She has been working in different agencies, including UNIFEM and UNWOMEN, I must say. And she has been appointed in 2010, appointed as the Chief of Leadership and Governance Section in UNWOMEN. And for a year, she acted as the head of policy division. In 2017, she was the representative of UNWOMEN in Lebanon, before being appointed as the Director of Gender Equality UNESCO. So I'm really glad that she had the time to join us today for the opening of our side event. So Begona, please.
Thank you very much, Anna, and good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure on behalf of UNESCO, and we are here with my colleague, Christine, Chief of Education. But personally, as Anna was saying, it's an immense pleasure to be here. Because not only I saw in the website Nadine, my great colleague and friend Nadine Gasman, and many friends here from Mexico, from many other places and partners. I remember in UNWOMEN when we started thinking about this program years ago. And I remember there was not an easy program because it combined a lot of many difficult things. But I have to say that the partners, the founders, the excitement and the really added value of the program made that all the difficulties were passed, and that really 5 years later we are going to listen to the really great results that this program have done. So for me, 5 years or I don't know, 5, 6 years later, looking at the results is probably one of the things that somebody that works in gender equality is like the best gift you can provide, because on gender equality results are really difficult to get. And of course, for UNESCO, supporting learning across one lifetime is absolutely central. I mean, if something is at the core of UNESCO mandate, the senior agency in the UN system is education, is learning, is trying to use all of these inside dialogue of education and learning and cultural dialogue for a culture of peace. So this is an important purpose of our work. Promoting lifelong learning means creating systems that realize the right to education for people of all ages. So it's not something we focus on at a certain age. It would be great that everybody at a certain point has the basics and the not so basic education. But we know that we have to learn constantly. And particularly more people that do not have the same opportunities in life. Or maybe people that we may think we have it, but something happens in our life, as we are seeing in the world, that is not safe. That things happen like only conflict, and we consider conflicts as traditional conflicts, but natural disasters, pandemics, many things that make that at the end of the day, what we thought we were going to have, a basic and not basic and more education and tertiary education, we are not there. So I think this program brings, and this idea of learning that everybody at all ages can be able and can have the opportunity to learn. Probably we have to say that, to say it very frankly and bluntly, it is a failure that in the second decade of the 20th century, and nearly 3 decades into the internet revolution, we have not done much of the power of the internet and digital technology to improve education and enhance lifelong learning. So making it accessible, flexible, inclusive, equitable, and high quality. And if you look at entertainment, if you look at communication, if you look at commerce or trade, or any other members of it, we can see how immediately they have been advancing and blah, 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 blah. And there is not even thinking about how we can do that for the most advancement. But it's still, we in the teaching and learning are still not in the same speed. And this is something that necessarily we have to catch up to make sure that gender equality, empowerment of women and girls, learning for everybody, all human beings, we use the best technologies and we do it in the best and quick and way. As UNESCO, we stand with you today and every day to advance transformative agenda that expands the access to in-person, online, hybrid educational experiences for women with no or low digital literacy. We know that UNESCO has added value to what you are doing. You are doing an amazing work, UN, BHP, IAEP, and UNITAR, and many others, all the partners in your countries, Govt of Mexico and the partners. But we think we can provide the added value of being the entry point in the ministries of education in many parts of the world, because at the end of the day, we know how the world functions. You need to have document and certificate and entry point. So I think we can bring that added value. In short, I think you want to hear that, not me, but I'm very happy to be here, and I wish that this program has, if not the same, that already are amazing, better and huge results, because in this world, everybody has the right to learn and to have the right to have access to the education. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Begona. What a pleasure. Thank you for reminding us of the right of learning opportunity at all age and stages in life, even for people that have been affected by a crisis and left behind. Let's not forget that this is at the core of our 2030 agenda and the key element of this. So thanks, and thanks for UNESCO presence here today. So I leave the floor to all people here at the table, squeeze and cozy, and my colleague Sonali, who will moderate or facilitate the discussion with all partners here. So Sonali, over to you, and I'll be told that it's time.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, we've got a great panel this morning. We have tried to select a good representation of all the partners that we work with. So we have people here from the private sector, from government, our implementing partners, as well as participants from the program from a cross-section of countries we work with as well. To begin with, we're going to turn to Faith Rose from BHP Foundation at the start of the panel. BHP Foundation was instrumental to the design and the establishment of the Second Chance Education program, and e-learning was designed into the program delivery from the outset. Faith is the program director of the Education Equity Program at the BHP Foundation, where she oversees the implementation of the Education Equity Strategy, which is what this program and the UN Women Partnership fits under. So Faith, why does the BHP Foundation view the inclusion of e-learning in the Second Chance Education program as essential to success?
Thanks, Sonali. And thanks for having me. Let me know if you can't hear me, but try and project here. So thanks for having me. It's a privilege to be here and share the space with significantly more interesting and important people. Sorry about that. So it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. And I appreciate being allowed to go first because I'm truly, as most funders are, the imposter in the room in terms of both contributions and technical expertise. So BHP Foundation is very proud to have been supporting the UN Women's Second Chance Education Program over the last 5 years. And we see that it's for a few reasons. One is that it's reaching a population of women that frequently fall between the cracks of the global agenda, but disproportionately carry the burden of poverty and crisis. We also see that this program is deeply contextualized. It's responsive to the needs of the women in the specific countries and communities in which it's operating, to ensure that the service provision is relevant, but also creating safe space, critical safe space, which is where women are able to build confidence, self-actualize, think about the future more meaningfully. And third, and why we're here today, is its emphasis on e-learning and the blended service provision. This is essential to the long-term success of empowering women. Providing e-learning opportunities, and especially when they're bespoke to the specific context in which they're being provided, reflects a really critical challenge to a persistent digital skills gap between men and women, but it also enables women to access information and skills that has the potential to not only transform their own economic opportunities, but those of their children and their children's children. So it should be a virtuous cycle from that standpoint. It's easy to talk about how important technology is for scaling, for leapfrogging, for cost savings, but it is a lot harder to do it in an impactful way. And the way in which we have seen the Second Chance Education Program partners do that in a considered, iterative, and high impact approach is, the cornerstone of our ongoing support for the program, and why we're so proud to have been sort of one of the first movers on this, and we're looking forward to seeing what it does over the next 5 years. So thank you very much for having me, and thank you for letting me interlope as today's panel.
Thank you so much, Faith. They're definitely not an interloper, and the HP Foundation was very critical in the design of the program, and that's obviously part of the program's success. Next, partnering with government is really also integral to the sustainability of UN programming. Governments must be on board to enable the right policy and programming environments and financing and resources. I'm delighted that we are joined today by Minister Paula Lazo. She's the Minister for Substantive Equality between Women and Men of the state of Jalisco in Mexico. Before taking the position, he served as a university professor and as an independent researcher. So I have two questions for you, Minister. The first is, why did the Jalisco state government partner with UN Women to deliver the SE program? And secondly, how important is the e-learning component of SDE from the perspective of the Jalisco state government?
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to the UN Women for the invitation, especially to Ana Santellanes, head of the Second Chance Program in Mexico. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here. Well, it's important for us to tell you that the Ministry of Substantive Equality between Women and Men system is called in Mexico in Spanish. It is a mechanism of advance of women in Jalisco, and that works under two fundamental mandates: equality between women and women access to a life free of gender violence. I would like to give you a small context in Jalisco. In Jalisco, in 22-21, the female task force labor market was 46%, while male task force was 78%. From this percentage, self-employed women are 23% of the 46% employed women. From the total of self-employed women in Jalisco, only 39% have upper secondary or higher education. When it comes to the reasons why they don't use technology, is because they don't know how to use it. The gap, the technology gap in Mexico is still a profound one. So it is the reason why the Second Chance program is so important for women to really engage in these abilities and into the process of education. As you know, as access to internet is necessary to ensure access to other rights like education, health, employment, among others. Also, different type of media, internet allows people the possibility to express and socialize their ideas. Access to internet has driven vocation for personal, community, and social development. Despite this, to this day, local rural communities and also cities, not everyone, especially women, has access to technology and internet. These are some of the reasons why the alliance with UN Women is fundamental in order to contribute to the fulfillment of women's human rights and to the reduction of gender gap of self-employed women, as well as to promote their insertion in the labor market. The Ministry of Equity in Jalisco built a specialized center for women called CLEA, by its acronym in Spanish. This space offers women, especially women who have experienced gender violence or other type of discrimination, to receive free legal advice and psychological accompaniment for them and also for their children, free medical and gynecological services, and access to job orientation and job opportunities. The courses also for development of gender non-traditional careers, among other services. This is also the place where the Second Chance program takes place in the metropolitan area. Some of the achievements of this collaboration are, we have a program that is called Women's Force, Fuerza Mujeres in Spanish, and also a colibri platform that we built in the hand of UN Women. And in these 4 years, from 2019 to 2022, the execution has provided with financial support for women and also tablets, electronic tablets for the educational content to more than 17,000 women around Jalisco. With the delivery of an educational equipment as tablets, thousands of women have been introduced to e-learning for the first time, making it possible for those women who have missed out an education to learn on a context-appropriate program design. This experience has allowed also the dropout rate to 13% from 2019 to 2022. It has adapted the e-learning provision and mentoring support in order to meet the needs of women who are facing multiple challenges, such as lack of access to devices and connectivity, low digital literacy, and time-consuming caring responsibilities. Participants can access computers, internet, digital skills, and also training and childcare in the hubs, which then equips them for more autonomous self-study in the future. E-learning can enable greater participation among women, and it has allowed rural and indigenous women also living in areas that are not often served well by traditional education or economic empowerment programs. Many women from these areas face severe challenges around time availability, and particularly those related to the care responsibilities. Having the opportunity to learn and interact with others from their homes can benefit women who will be able to participate in in-person training, giving them the chance to spend even more time learning. In Jalisco, there's also a collaborative program with Mexico and Sociedad, Life Project, which involve practical exercises on visualizing and planning the future, and personal SWOT analysis, resulting in a long-term life plan. The training was originally delivered in person, but with the COVID restrictions in 2021, it was digitalized and converted to an asynchronous e-learning course to provide maximum flexibility. The blended approach of Second Chance introduces women to digital work in a gradual way. It also helps them to put on hands-on practical workshops and on product creation and online courses on human development and business skills. The content of online courses should be relevant and also contextual, especially for those women who are living in rural areas and indigenous communities. Also, the translation of their own in the tongue language is very important so they can access their information and make it relevant and significant for them. The second chance facilitators are a great tool to make the chart, to make the content value to them and help them and assess them in the access of this type of tool, especially because of the gap of knowledge and skills to use them adequately. According to the participants, the main benefit of the electronic tablet was the possibility to take training courses offered by Colibri, which is the program, the platform. It allowed them to take them in the most convenient way during the day, which is functional for them, and to look repeatedly at the content and share it also with their families and their friends, and to discover better ways to make their business grow. The electronic tablet by itself is a very potent tool. In one side, it became the most valuable property for a great number of participants who never had an object of their own. And also to own a technology device that is an important step in their understanding as a subject of laws and human rights. The tablet became a very useful tool to attend the technology gender gap and also the communication process, the project management, the networking, the capacity to develop for the participants. With the support of the Ministry of Equity, they had also the chance to learn how to arbitrage their products and services, and also to administrate the activities involving their business and for the project of life. And I would like to mention a quote that one of the beneficiaries mentioned. I like the courses, how to sell and be profitable, and personal finance also, because I was very disorganized and I was very informal. Now we're more formal and managed to reach potential clients. We are trying to make inventories to know what materials we have and to place orders in time. This is the transformative power of giving girls and women a second chance. That one that really makes a difference in their lives by building their own life project and also to decide for themselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister Lazo. That was a really kind of deep dive very quickly into the very practical realities of implementing the program. Some great examples, and it's great to hear of the transformative power, so thank you. Now, UN Women works with implementing partners that have strong relationships with our target communities, strong and deep relationships with the communities and participants. And IAP is one such partner from Chile. IAP delivers UN Women's program in Chile 100% online. Loreto Ferrari is the first female dean of IAP in its 57-year history. Loreto herself has more than 20 years experience in higher education institutions. Thanks for joining us, Loreto. I have two questions for you. The first are, what are the key features for a successful online program that can reach women across Chile? And secondly, what is necessary to reduce the digital gap for women to improve women's economic empowerment?
Okay. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very honored to be here. As we were talking, I'm the dean of AIEP. AIEP is a tech-backed institution for more than 57 years. We have been serving young people, but also an important percentage of working adults whose main objective is to progress through education. I think our experience and knowledge about this kind of students have been decisive to the success of the program that we are reviewing today. We have an educational model that addresses the needs of labor markets with very concrete and practical tools, but also consider that in all cases, studies are part of many, many duties that our students have in life. So I want to take a few minutes to talk about what 5 elements that we think that were very, very key in the success of the program in AIEP and UN Women. First of all, as I said, we understand, know, and have listened to the women that we are reaching out to. They don't have time. They have a hard life and probably have never been in a situation like this before. So we need support and flexibility. And we'll talk a little about this after. As consequences of this, and because we began the program in the middle of the pandemic, 100% online, We knew that they will need help and guidance during the complete program, so we decided to use mentorship and tutor methodology. I will talk about this in a minute. Third, we develop all the materials. We have years of experience as educated working adults. We know how are the learning process. We know that they need accomplish stages to be motivated and to be engaged. An additional point is that we know about the value of networking and how essential it is to create a sense of community and support, especially in this work. And finally, the impact of success stories. Women empowering women, transforming themselves in role models. I want to take some minutes about what we are talking before about these key factors. As I mentioned, a key success factor in this process is flexibility. To this kind of studies of students, we know that we have people that need more than one chance to complete a career, a course, or a training. Sometimes they cannot continue for different reasons. So we need someone to be there for them, someone to encourage them to come back in. And the program allows women to stop and come back and continue where they left. It shows the women, it shows that we are them, that we are here for them, and also that the efforts are not wasted. So I want to talk about a minute about the role that mentors and tutors have here. During the process of the workshops and courses, women had an assigned tutors. These tutors were students from AIEP, from social services, business, that support women in manage their schedules. They support them with technology, motivated them not to skip the classes, or encourage them when they have some troubles, encourage them to review the material, etc. They are always looking after them to ensure they don't drop out, and they have all what they need to be successful, but also to encourage them to return in the case of the drop out. On the other hand, the mentors are women that share their experience with a group of women students. They are volunteers, professionals that serve as a role model for women that are taking the program. They support them in different areas related to each one business, like digital marketing, project management, value proposition. But all our mentors are trained and prepared for their task. To become a mentor, women must accomplish a training on methodologies of social intervention and mentorships. Every mentor also review the case of each one of the students she has previously and prepare a session to specially speak about the challenge they have. We already have 130 mentors in the program, and additionally, we have 40 assistant mentors. 85% of them are professionals, mostly engineers, psychologists, lawyers. More than 60% of them work in a company or have been entrepreneurs. So we have to say that we insist in both the mentor and tutor figures because we have previous experience helping adults to finish high school. And we know it makes a huge difference in the retention and the success of those participating in this kind of program. But additionally to the work that the mentors and tutors make supporting the student, every time a tutor or a mentor believes a woman needs the support of other organizations, they make the point and we facilitate the contact. This support can be for finishing high school, for apply to state funding, expertise in different areas that we don't provide. Our program works in a network with other support systems, and women can build their own network of relationships that enable that they succeed in their goals. Additionally, we talk about role models. Every month, we provide all women participating with a newsletter focused on success stories. We had the situation of one participant of the program was so empowered that she became a mentor, and she's one of the most powerful role models we have. I want to take the last minute to talk about the impact of this program. We have almost 3,000 participants, and 65% finish with some certificate of this. 37% of them have improved their incomes, 16 have found a job, 20% has retaken and finished studies, 44% has continued their studies incomplete, 24% has started a new business, and 36% have improved their business. Once we finish, they evaluate the program. Let me share some insight that they gave to us. In the evaluation of help from tutor and mentorship, 90%. The mentorship were used for me and my project, 100%. How useful do you think the program was in general? 94%. Would you recommend the program to a friend? 95%. So in summary, and to finish this short presentation, I think the key factors were, we know them and have developed materials especially for them. We believe the way to approach this online learning is with accompaniment. They need to be, not to feel alone and to be constantly guided. Networking is essential to create a sense of community, but also to include other institutions that can ensure the future of our women. And finally, women empowering women, transforming themselves and role models for others is very important. We are very proud of the success of this program, and we will look for other opportunities to continue helping women to achieve their dreams. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Loretto. Later in today's session, we're launching our e-learning brief, and already we're hearing some of the really key lessons that are coming out in that brief. So the minister talked about the importance of that relevant and contextualized material. And Loretto talked to us a lot about the importance of that social scaffolding that needs to take place if you're 100% online or delivering a majority online. The importance of the mentors and the tutors and the networking, and also sharing the success stories. Our next speaker is from UNESCO. UNESCO is the key UN agency focused on education, including adult learning and education and lifelong learning education. Justine Satz is presently the chief of the second section of education for inclusion and gender equality at UNESCO, headquarters in Paris, France. Justine, I also have two questions for you. The first is, what are the gaps globally to bring women online and build a digital literacy? And the second question is, what work is UNESCO doing to build connectivity and e-learning content to empower women? Thank you.
Thanks, and greetings to everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here today. I'm inspired already by the amazing work that's happened through the Second Chance Education Program. To answer your first question, I think we've been speaking a lot about three aspects of the kind of digital gap. We've been speaking a lot about access. So we know that 259 million fewer women than men are online. We've been speaking a lot about digital skills. And so I think if I look in the context where I'm working in Europe, well, I'm based in Europe, not necessarily working so much there. 1 in 4 women have advanced skills in programming, and that's in Europe. If you look at not 1 in 4, 1 woman for every 4 men have advanced skills in programming. But we see gaps across the digital skills spectrum. And I think we've also been speaking a lot about online safety and the technology facilitated violence. There are 3 areas I think we haven't been speaking so much about, which I think are really important. The first one is confidence and self-efficacy. If we look at data on computer information literacy skills, we often see that girls in many places at a very young age are actually have higher skills than boys. But when you ask them about, are they confident in their skills, they always report lower. And it's shocking when you look at it on a graph, because you see it sort of skills this way, much higher, and then it goes, self-efficacy this way. And I think confidence is an aspect that we haven't really thought so much about and that we need to think more about. The second one is literacy. And so women's literacy, women represent 2/3 of illiterate adults in the world. It's the same proportion it has been since we've started to collect data on this. And so I think we need to look at how to to leverage technology to close those literacy gaps, but also how literacy is also affecting women's ability to learn online and to access information online. And the last one I think the minister already addressed is time, which is to say that the overwhelming burden of domestic responsibilities that women have mean that they don't have as much time to be learning online and to be participating in different ways online. So I think these are our three gaps that we really need to address. In addition to the wonderful brief that is on e-learning, we've also launched a fact sheet rather on International Women's Day that's looking at some of these data gaps rather. And I have a few copies of them I'd be happy to share as well with me today. On your second question in terms of what are we doing? So we're looking at, I would say, sort of 3 C's: content, connectivity, and capacity. I have 3 images I wanted to show you. I'm going to take you to 3 different places quickly to share a bit more about what we're doing in a few different contexts. The first one is in Côte d'Ivoire. We've been working with women in markets and many of these women have not had any education or certainly haven't finished their education. The program has been running since 2017. It's gone through a number of different phases and we've had a lot of learning from it. But the women that are involved in the program go through about a 6 to 9 month program. They have a smartphone, they have access to the literacy app through that. They are connected to other women. Again, this importance of networking. There are blended learning opportunities where they do have a chance to meet together online, which I think is also incredibly important. And I think what we've learned from this is the importance of looking at how to leverage technology for sort of like a poly empowerment arrangement. So not only, addressing literacy, addressing digital skills and addressing financial literacy as well. So these women, have received similar results around better market opportunities, more financial management of their own money and a lot of other areas of empowerment, which I think have been really exciting for us. So that's the lesson we've learned from Côte d'Ivoire. I'm going to take you now to Guatemala. So in Guatemala, we've been running a program through community learning centers for women. It's working with Indigenous women in a number of different communities. The educators are Indigenous women from those communities. The content has been developed locally for them. It's looking at violence prevention, health, many different aspects of their lives, I would say. And we now have a digital aspect to it as well. So the women are also receiving tablets with content on it. It's the content is offline, which I think is also very important. So it is content that they don't need, in areas where the connectivity is incredibly limited, they're still able to access that content and able to learn. And it's linked to a program that enables certification. So it's the Guatemala Radio, I have it here, Guatemalan Institute of Radiophonic Education. And I think the certification is also very important. The lesson that we have learned here is again the point about context, the importance of context, the importance of really reaching others with what they need in their own context. And I would say also that some language is also quite important in really addressing gaps in content and making sure it's available in local languages in contexts like this. The last one is in Brazil, and it's a little bit different. It's incredibly interesting. So you can see a few different pictures on this slide. On the right side, what you can see, we've identified a number of women, kind of role models, I would say, doing excellent work in this area. We've really tried to bring them from Indigenous communities, and we have transgender women also that are part of this program, really trying to reach those that may be marginalized in their context, but offering different images of role models. We've also been working with a really interesting program called Sydney Solar. And so they're taking, as you can see here, films into communities. So also trying to break the sort of stereotypes around, it's really more about women in STEM, I would say, but also offering opportunities for digital skills development. And the vans are just also, they go into communities as well. And they have another opportunity for learning, for learning and outreach on digital skills, and again, offering different types of materials to learners. And I think what we've learned here is the importance of meeting, same for the first one, I would say, but meeting women where they are. Often these programs are, they need to be flexible. They need to be reaching out to communities where women may not necessarily have their own tablets, have their own access to materials, and trying to find them and engage them in different ways.
Thank you so much, Justine, for highlighting UNESCO's extensive experience in this area of pursuing second chances for women who do miss out on education and digital experience. Again, so many lessons resonate with our own learnings around the confidence and self-efficacy. We spent a lot of time as well on the user experience and the interface for women who are illiterate in terms of language as well as digital literacy. We also built for offline scenarios as well. Next, I turn to UNITAR. UNITAR is the UN agency focused on training and research and has extensive experience in delivering training for youth and women in fragile and conflict-affected countries. UN Women's SCE program partnered with UNITAR to deliver our e-learning through Educate for All, a micro e-learning platform that's hosted by EDAP. And our speaker today is Shamsul Hadi Shams. He is the specialist and team leader for entrepreneurship and private sector development in the Division for Prosperity at UNITAR. Shams, I have two questions for you as well. The first one is, why did UNITAR commence the relationship with EDAP? I'm going to also ask you a second question, and that is, how is micro-learning content and training useful for women in disaster and crisis contexts?
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here, and I really like the gender balance of the panelists. It's a great pleasure to work with a UN woman in several countries, and I think it's very important. And today I'm going to be hearing a lot of good stories that what we are doing. So, I mean, the question that why did we partner with EDAP? I think one thing that comes to mind is the timing, and I think the timing could not be more perfect. Exactly 3 years ago, when the COVID hit, businesses were shut down, schools were shut down, and we have seen that lockdowns, borders were closed, and what we really needed during that time is access to our learners. UNITAR been delivering training mostly in conflict-affected countries, and I think having that opportunity and join hands with a startup, which is called EDAP, was really allowed us to reach to our learners where they are, and be able to deliver training to them. The idea was that everything can wait, but education cannot wait. Learning cannot wait. And I think that was the whole idea, that EDAP came together with UNITAR. So the EDAP provided the platform, which is essentially a micro-learning platform. And given our experience and knowledge working in conflict-affected countries and those who are emerging from conflict, I think allowed us to provide the content that they needed to reach to those people in need. So I think that's where we started an initiative called Educate All. And the whole idea of is to democratize education, especially given the constraint that we had, given that the border was locked down, people were unable to access learning. So I think that was a very, very important partnership for us. And I think it was also a question of not just survival. I mean, initially everybody was struggling how to bring this program online. We were delivering a lot of training face-to-face, but then as soon as the COVID hit, everybody started panicking, like, okay, oh my God, as an institute, how are we going to survive in this environment? So I think giving that partnership was essential for us to access to our participants, bring them the learning that they need the most, and bring them for free of charge. So EDAP is, I think, did a very good job to start focusing on micro-learning. And what is micro-learning? Essentially, to turn a course or a lesson that you can do in traditional way, like in 30 minutes or 1 hour, that course was, converted to be done in 3 to 7 minutes. So it's very short, to the point, and very quick to be delivered. So I think having that bite size, modality allowed us to, bring our learning to our participant. The second important thing of this platform is that it was designed for low bandwidth environment. So if you have not stable internet, I know that a lot of those countries that we work with, there is no really good infrastructures. So having that platform is that they can access the course online whenever they have a Wi-Fi, download the course, do it offline, and then when they have a chance to reconnect to the internet, so the system will update itself, and we can see the what's happening. So another key feature of this platform was the great analytics, advanced analytics, that we can see what is happening on the other end of this platform. Are people learning? What are they saying? What are the completion rate? How much time do they spend in doing the learning? How they're doing with the quiz? So I think all these analytics allowed us to assess the impact in a very effective way. That before COVID, we didn't have that chance, but after working with this platform, it allowed us to see those analytics. Another important thing is the contextualization, because a lot of these skills, knowledge, I think they are very difficult to implement in certain contexts. So what we did is that we brought in a lot of local mentors or coaches to support them. And that support is some of my colleague here on the panel mentioned that was very essential to encourage them, to give them that motivation and the confidence in their skills, in themselves, I think was really an effective point. So all in all, I think micro-learning allowed us the accessibility to reach to our learners free of charge, and the affordability, because this was one of the platform among so many, is that they provided an open library. So now I think in 2020, we had about 50,000 courses available free of charge. What you need to do is just to open and download that app onto your cell phone, smartphone, or your PC, and you can just hit running and start the course. So you don't have to, register for a course. You don't have to go through all those, procedures that normally in traditional courses we do. Is that you just download the app and you will see an Educate All library, and you search which course is relevant for you, what you need. And also, since it's a bite size, you don't have to, a lot of people struggle, how to manage their women, especially, is family, work, housework, at the same time running a business. So that time poverty, I think, is being touched here as well. I think this micro learning allowed us to support them. So I think in a nutshell, that partnership was very important. And then building on that experience for the past 3 years, we have been reaching more than 10,000 people. So the number has been increased 10 times. So I think I would just conclude my intervention by saying that it's not the strongest who will survive, it's those who adopt. So I think it was an essential partnership in giving the woman a chance to learn, and using micro-learning was very effective, and we were able to reach the goal while many other organizations were struggling how to deal with it. So thank you very much. I'm more than happy if you have any question to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shams. The partnership between UN Women and UNITAR and leveraging AIEP has been really critical to our success as well. To touch on the issue of timing and being able to adopt quickly, we signed an agreement with our implementing partner Real Futures in March 2020, and just as the ink was drying, we went into lockdowns in Australia, as many of you did globally, and so they had to pivot and adopt very rapidly as well, and they're here to tell you about their experiences. Oniva is a proud Warramai woman. She is the Women's Business Second Chance Hub Program Manager for Real Futures. Oniva, could you please tell us about how the Hub uses AIEP?
Yes, thank you, Sonali. Firstly, I just want to say what an honor it is to be a part for Real Futures, to be a part of such an important discussion. And it's a privilege for me to be amongst an inspiring panel here today. So thank you for having me. And thank you for the question. So the AIEP platform has definitely been instrumental in helping us inspire and influence the different ways of learning for our women. Through conducting our mentoring and support calls, we were able to gather information on what inspired our women, what they wanted to learn about, and then create content to help them learn, thrive, and grow throughout the COVID lockdown period, especially, so they were still able to move forward in their journey. Throughout this period as well, we also went on a search to find the different content out there that was created by Aboriginal people to help push this across. But unfortunately, there wasn't that much content there, so we did feel like we were pioneers in this space. Yeah, so one of the main workshops that we was most popular in creating was our life and career planning workshop. This particular workshop really inspired me because we actually got to co-design it with our women, which helped them draw out their short-term goals and their life and their long-term goals, and also draw out how their life experiences influence the different career opportunities to help them move forward in obtaining employment opportunities. And through to now that we've got out of the lockdown period, we're also able to host these sessions as blended learning sessions, which we've been able to roll out in different Aboriginal communities in Australia, and we hope to do more of that in the future as well. But I'll hand it over to my sister here to talk about some of the other blended workshops that we've done in-house. Thank you, Sonalia.
Thank you. So our second speaker from Real Futures is Nakoa Pitt. She's a proud Yagara Bull and Miriam Lay woman, representing both Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander bloodlines. She works at Real Futures Women's Business Second Chance Hub as a reach out officer. So Nakoa, my question for you is that we understand you came to the hub as a participant of our program, but you're now staff. Can you please tell us a bit about your journey and your journey particularly with e-learning?
Thank you, Sam. I actually wanted to start with one of my favorite memories of dropping into the hub and just sitting around the table with one of my friends and talking about our goals and listening to music, and we were searching up on the internet what our dream cars and dream homes would look like. And it sparked an idea about creating a vision board. And we went ahead to create it on a big poster with all these different pieces of paper, of clips of stuff that we wanted to be. Sorry, I'm getting a bit nervous. Yeah, we put that on a board, and then now that being a reach out officer for Real Futures, I was able to grab that vision board content and put it onto the AIEP, like James was saying. It's an amazing tool for our ladies to be able to grasp onto, because in 8 slides, I was able to show them what a vision board is, the different ways of doing a vision board, because you could do the pictures, or you could do words of affirmation over your life, you know. And a vision board is not strict with boundaries around it, you know. You can create a vision board that is short term, long term, or something that you just dream to be one day, 5 years or 10 years from now. But through creating the content for e-learning, I had the e-learning through using EdApp has been an amazing step towards independent learning for our First Nation women. An example was the content we created regarding steps on how to download MS Teams, which was an amazing tool through the pandemic, because we had our ladies attending their sewing courses and stuff like that. And they were able to continue to do that because of the way that they use the app to download that app onto their phones or laptops and stay in touch with their teachers. We also completed our very first diploma of counselling course through using e-learning. The EdApp is also an inclusive way to blended learning, which allows our First Nations elders in our community who normally defer from using anything technical to still be a part of the courses or workshops that we create. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to touch on the fact that these women highlighted the importance of the life and career planning course as an integral course. And we also heard from Minister Lazo at the start saying that was a really critical course in Mexico as well. It's really important to hear from as many beneficiaries and participants in our programs as possible. So hopefully we can now hear from Asale Francois from Cameroon about her experiences.
Je me nomme Asale Bimena Françoise. Je suis camerounaise, j'ai 23 ans. J'ai 3 enfants à ma charge. Cette formation m'a beaucoup aidée. Premièrement, à causer avec ma famille parce que je suis loin d'eux. Et deuxièmement, elle m'a beaucoup aidée à faire d'autres recherches. Par exemple, j'ai appris à travers les réseaux sociaux, à travers l'Internet, comment faire les arbres fruitiers. Et cela me donne en ce moment d'ajouter un plus. Après la formation, j'ai eu une idée de faire moi-même les arbres fruitiers. Parce que j'ai constaté que les oranges que nous suçons ici là viennent du Nigeria. C'est là où j'ai eu une idée de faire les arbres fruitiers. Et je me suis demandé que dans un verger, qu'est-ce qui peut accompagner le verger? J'ai réfléchi et j'ai mis en idée aussi d'accompagner ces arbres fruitiers avec les roches, dans la fabrication des roches pour produire le miel. J'ai appris à utiliser Internet pendant que j'étais en formation. Et quand la formation est finie, j'ai continué à utiliser mon téléphone parce que à la maison, je n'avais pas accès. Donc, je faisais le transfert et je multipliais ça en mégas pour faire les recherches, peut-être que sur YouTube. L'appareil que j'utilise, c'est le téléphone Android. Déjà, j'aimerais souligner ici là que le fait de pouvoir se connecter et d'avoir des compétences numériques sont très pertinents pour les réfugiés et les femmes déplacées au Cameroun. Parce que ça leur permet de communiquer et d'avoir d'autres connaissances en dehors de ce que peut-être elles peuvent apprendre de bouche à oreille. Ça leur ouvre l'esprit en réalité. Selon moi, les plus grands obstacles à l'accès en ligne pour les femmes dans ma situation, c'est que Déjà, tout commence par la pensée. Parce que la majorité ont la pensée enfermée. Ça veut dire quoi? Elle regarde à ce qui frappe à l'œil. Peut-être moi, avant que je ne fasse cette formation, moi, je n'étais que focalisée seulement sur Facebook et WhatsApp. C'est après ma formation que vraiment que tout a changé. Et c'est aussi par rapport aux moyens. Parce qu'avant, je n'arrivais même pas à faire même 100 francs de mégas parce que je comptais vraiment derrière mon mari. Mais maintenant, là, vraiment, je peux de moi-même peut-être dire qu'il faut que je fasse le transfert pour multiplier cela en mégas et pour faire mes recherches.
I'd like to start questioning what is social impact? How do we measure it? In Sociedad, we are aware of the importance of evidence-based solutions to address social problems. So when we started years ago working hand in hand with UN Women, and we were facing the start of the pandemic, we knew we had to truly understand the e-learning solutions that have been effective in similar contexts. For example, facing natural disaster or other social crises. So what we learned along the research and along engaging with women in the discussion was that social impact is often left behind or less studied than other development, market, or technological outcomes. So we question a lot about the intervention we are making in Jalisco, which are the changes in the relationships between women, which are the changes in the social interactions we have and they have between them, which are the exclusion and inclusion dynamics that are affected with these interventions. So what we have seen is women that now uses, for example, bank accounts or debit cards that they didn't use before because they were afraid to use an ATM as a machine they didn't use before. We also, the women have reached out to us confident that they no longer depend on their husbands and children to look out for information. And also later on, achieving better decision using this information they found out in the internet, for example. Also, we have participated in different WhatsApp groups that the women build to boost the e-learning outside the classroom and outside the learning hours, where they share their ideas. They often help others to answer questions they have along their e-learning pathways. And also they often offer new products and services in the groups, finding often new business partners, friends, and support along the way. Also, we have reached out to women, for example, with physical disability throughout e-learning. And now they are becoming mentors in the program, trying to challenge their own barriers to learn and to share that learning with others. And we have also seen the women become confident and feel useful, helping other women to use new technologies or new knowledge they have achieved through technology. We also have to say that we face many challenges to introduce the e-learning in the program. We still have a lot to grow about how to do self-learning and specialized self-learning. So we can, as Minister Paola said, focus on professionalizing to non-traditional careers and other type of opportunities along the way. And also to build safe spaces for women within the learning centers and outside the learning centers through these platforms. Because we have seen also that these results are not the same for all. We need to use a strong intersectional analysis to design the e-learning solutions to address the different barriers
that we all face from our different experiences. So for example, we found out that we needed to have some face-to-face interaction at the beginning so that we won't leave behind those non-native digitals or also women who don't know how to use the technology to engage with e-learning. And that faces us with the difficulties to reach out to these women who maybe doesn't have the economic status to take 1, 2, 3 buses to get to the learning centers. Or, for example, what we face a lot in Mexico. So if they are learning at home, to build a safe space at home to engage with learning, that's not that obvious. We have to work on that before and to involve it in the e-learning designing itself. So this is very important to actually leave no one behind in the e-learning pathways. And also, I would like to say that we have seen or in ProSociedad and in the second chance program in Mexico, we believe that systemic change is needed to address these problems throughout e-learning. We need to engage with different key actors across society in different sectors, and we have seen that social impact also happens there. We now work with teachers, for example, that are part of organization or the community itself that are not digital natives. So they also have to learn how to use these tools, and they also improve the qualification to work with us and in other spaces and to engage with women in different forms. We have learned a lot from Chile for all this guidance and all these other tools that need to engage with the e-learning and to enable delivery effective solutions. So also building communities involving key actors, building strengthened and collaborative systems who are questioning traditional way to deliver education as a powerful tool for development and empowerment, and delivering e-learning effective solutions for women who were left behind before. These communities now thrive together to be empathic and to understand the diverse reality of women. And we together professionalize to build women-centered solutions in e-learning, and we think this represents also a social impact itself.
Thank you so much, Elsa. I think that point on the safe space, even at home, was a really important one for us to all think about more. As the panel presented, I was reflecting on the fact that something that was also really important during the implementation of this program is that we spent a lot of time sharing lessons during the pandemic between the 6 countries. We had a series of mini conferences at crazy times for many of the countries to get all 6 countries together. So we also had Jordan and India that aren't represented on the panel today, sharing lessons, exchanging information, and it's really helped to fine-tune our delivery. So that wraps up the panel for today. It doesn't wrap up the event. We do have a couple more speakers, so please thank the panel.
Thank you. We won't let you go yet. So we want to repeat the space for Q&A, but before that, Sarah Hendricks, our Govt Director for Program Policy and Intergovernmental Division, is here today for a few keynotes and talk a bit about our lessons learned and our application on reflection of e-learning in the SE program. And then we'll open the floor to Q&A. Thank you. Thanks, Sarah, for coming straight from another event, almost running.
I should have brought my running shoes with me to this year's Commission on the Status of Women I was here in time to hear the last few speakers, and I really appreciated your comments and reflections. I can tell that this was both a meaningful, but also a robust and impactful panel. When we look at second chance education, we know that the enduring challenge for adult learning is to really reach those who need these learning opportunities the most. We also know that there remains an acute gap in the provision of adult learning and education for those who've missed out and continue to miss out. Today's discussion around digital literacy, the connection of this year's CSW theme is so critical in the context of adult learning, and particularly in the context of the empowerment of women and how that's related to education. Through the Second Chance Education Program, we work with women who need adult learning, who need education the most, and it's delivered through face-to-face, also through blended, and then also through fully online modalities. So there are those three pathways. I think the panel has just really provided a lot of that context, that texture around the challenges, the opportunities. What we hear is that e-learning is an important core component of second chance education right from the start. And the thousands of women who've been introduced to e-learning for the first time, I think is in no way is it due to external factors, but it's really due to the localized and creative solutions designed by the partners who've spoken today. So I just want to recognize, honor, and celebrate your creativity, your vision that you bring, as well as your persistence in identifying solutions to challenges. We've heard already about some of the barriers. We heard, I think, from the last speaker who talked about various barriers, including the importance of an intersectional analysis being applied. Other barriers can be around connectivity, skills, confidence, but even also whether the content is relevant, is contextualized, is even relatable. I wanted to point to something that we're excited to be launching today. And I think there's probably versions of this at the back of the room. But it is an e-learning brief that's been developed by the Second Chance Education team to capture a lot of these lessons learned, really with a posture that we are leaning in to learn together. And this has been done with partners, with Second Chance Education participants. There's also a there's a QR code on the screen. And that will give you access as well to this amazing brief. It draws on the experiences from all 6 countries and across all partners, and it really synthesizes those experiences into 10 concrete lessons learned. And I think this is probably a useful time to look at those lessons. Let me share a few highlights of some of them. The first one is, of course, around access. And this has been coming up again and again in all conversations across the Commission on the Status of Women this week. But the Second Chance Education program has explored a wide array of possibilities to try and provide access both to devices as well as to connectivity. These include building partnerships with the private sector in order to actually get equipment into the hands of women and into hubs such as the Second Chance Education hub in Mexico, in Cameroon, which has been done through the partnership with HP. It also includes leveraging government partnerships to really piggyback on tablet or computer distribution. In addition to access, I think probably, even more importantly than access is the conditions and the context for second chance education. And this really is highlighted in this brief in a very concrete way. And I think you've heard today about the conditions and context in a very immediate and tangible way. This gets to the context where women are online and what they are balancing in their offline lives. They are balancing care responsibilities. They're balancing their own aspirations, theirs and their family's needs. In some settings where second chance education takes place, we work with refugee or migrant women who have very unique needs and who have expressed that constraints of language or digital literacy or family and community networks or even just the compounded nature of being marginalized, are really important factors to consider in terms of conditions and contexts in this program. They may be unable to attend an in-person training because of those challenges, or even because of lack of money for transport. They may have a mobile phone, but no computer. So this brief really offers lessons on how to address these unique challenges in terms of population segments. It also provides lessons on how digital interfaces are designed. This is something that I'm particularly interested in because we're hearing a lot of discussion here at the CSW around one of the 4 themes in the Secretary General's report, which is about design of technology, and how when the design of tech for all of us isn't done by women, for women, with women, it doesn't serve women's needs. So these interfaces need to have that design for second chance education participants to really be meaningfully engaged, to have relatability of the content, and to ensure that this is building their digital literacy in line with, I think, what all of you have highlighted today already. In our experience, we've seen that women-centered innovation solutions are there. We need to open up dialogue space to hear about those solutions so that the ICT design, the digital platforms can really be fit for purpose in a way that is empowering, bringing that intersectional lens, looking at the importance also of social impact and systemic change. I think ensuring personalized support for participants has made a huge difference to the quality of learning and also to retention. And that also comes out in terms of these lessons. We've learned humbly about the experiences of COVID-19 and how quickly partners on the ground can actually adapt and scale up the digitalization of their programs when they understand the needs of the women that are being served. And I think COVID was actually a driving force for accelerating innovation and accelerating solutions in that regard. So now we have a much better idea of how digital programs can be designed so that they reach, include in a meaningful way the most marginalized women, that they take a leave no one behind approach and apply that with intentionality and with thoughtfulness. Access to devices and the internet, digital skills, childcare, transport, flexibility, personalized support, blended learning, all of these things play their part. I think our hope is that if e-learning was scaled up, this could make such a difference to both individual lives, but also to economic well-being in families, in communities, and countries. We're really aiming to continue to invest in face-to-face, online, and blended adult learning and education so that no woman or girl is left behind. And we hope that this briefing will be useful to everyone. We hope that it will offer a unique opportunity to reach more women and offer them tailored learning opportunities that builds their digital skills to participate in an ever more digitally connected world. With this, I thank you, and I think Annie's going to take us on to the next part of our. Thank you.
So much for staying with us. We have a few minutes and we have the honor to have on a recorded message the president of INMUJERES, Nadine Gasman.
Buenos días, saludo con mucho gusto a las y los participantes de este evento paralelo en el marco de la CSW y a las y los panelistas que nos acompañaron, a quienes les agradezco por sus importantes contribuciones, así como a la audiencia especialista en aprendizaje digital inclusivo. Organizamos este evento para escuchar sus ideas y experiencias y para compartir parte del trabajo que desde ONU Mujeres, UNESCO, UNITAR, el Gobierno de México, la Fundación BHP y AIEP impulsamos para cerrar las brechas de desigualdad y promover el empoderamiento de las mujeres a partir del uso y aprovechamiento de los medios digitales como herramientas de aprendizaje y desarrollo. Como lo apunta el tema prioritario de la CSW, la tecnología puede desempeñar un papel importante para lograr la igualdad si promovemos el acceso igualitario de las mujeres en toda su diversidad a las tecnologías de la información y las comunicaciones. Por eso, desde el INMUJERES, reconocemos el valor del programa Segunda Oportunidad. Gracias a la perspectiva transformadora e innovadora, sustentada en las necesidades y avances tecnológicos de nuestras sociedades, muchas mujeres, luego de frenar sus carreras por motivos asociados a roles y estereotipos tradicionales, han logrado reiniciarlas, autoemplearse y emprender negocios en beneficios de sus autonomías. En México, el 64% de las mujeres no utilizaron computadora, laptop o tablet en 2021, debido sobre todo a que no saben cómo usarlas. No obstante, la brecha digital es más amplia si consideramos condiciones específicas asociadas a la residencia y edad, ya que el 83% de las mujeres rurales y el 90% de las mujeres de 60 años y más no usaron estos dispositivos en ese mismo año. Para cambiar esta situación, en el gobierno del presidente Andrés Manuel López Obrador, trabajamos en atender todas las dimensiones de la brecha digital de género, de acceso, uso, apropiación e influencia, que incluyen la alfabetización y las capacidades digitales, beneficiando especialmente a las mujeres que más lo necesitan, como las que habitan en los entornos rurales y las de mayor edad, para no seguir dejándolas atrás ni afuera de la transformación tecnológica y, por lo tanto, del mejoramiento de sus condiciones de vida. Para contribuir a cerrar la brecha digital en su dimensión de acceso, creamos la empresa subsidiaria CFE Telecomunicaciones e Internet para todas y todos, con la cual estamos instalando esta red en carreteras, plazas públicas, hospitales, escuelas y espacios comunitarios, y acercar a las localidades de alta marginación los programas de bienestar social del gobierno federal. Para erradicar el analfabetismo de las mujeres, que en México es de 6%, el INMUJERES y el Instituto Nacional de Educación para Adultos nos aliamos en 2021 para propiciar conjuntamente que las mujeres cursen o concluyan su educación básica con planes, programas, materiales y herramientas tecnológicas con perspectiva de género. Con la intención que las mujeres tengan oportunidades de uso de las TIC, desde el INMUJERES establecimos una alianza con la iniciativa de la industria de las tecnologías de la información IDEA TIC para crear la Estrategia Nacional de Habilidades Digitales. Gracias a ella hemos capacitado a casi 4,000 niñas y adultas mayores con cursos de alfabetización digital para mujeres y habilidades digitales para personas adultas mayores. También para fomentar el desarrollo de habilidades empresariales y financieras en el mundo digital y que las mujeres se apropien y aprovechen las tecnologías de la comunicación, contamos con la estrategia de capacitación Mujeres en la Transformación Digital, con la cual las participantes han incrementado sus ventas por Internet en un 270%. En el mismo sentido, desde el año pasado, lanzamos con Mercado Libre la tienda en línea Hecho en México por Mujeres, para que puedan ofertar sus productos en este sitio web. Si bien es necesario expandir el acceso de las TICs para que lleguen a todas las mujeres, jóvenes y niñas, su aprovechamiento depende en buena medida de que sean usadas con libertad y sin discriminación ni violencia. En 2021 en México reformamos la Ley General de Acceso de las Mujeres a una vida libre de violencia para atender la violencia digital y mediática. Esto ha detonado acciones interinstitucionales acorde con las necesidades sociales, culturales y tecnológicas actuales. Por ejemplo, desde el INMUJERES trabajamos con la Procuraduría Federal del Consumidor para fomentar tanto el uso como el consumo responsable y seguro de los servicios de telecomunicaciones con perspectiva de género. Como actores involucrados en el aprendizaje digital inclusivo para las mujeres que más lo necesitan, debemos reforzar nuestro trabajo para garantizar sus derechos y asegurar que su educación, sus oportunidades profesionales y con ello sus autonomías no se vean coartadas por la falta de acceso, uso y capacitación digital y tecnológica. No debemos perder de vista que la clave para tener sociedades justas, democráticas y sostenibles es la igualdad entre mujeres y hombres. Muchas gracias.